Welcome to the Optimal Bio podcast. At Optimal Bio, we don't just balance your hormones, we balance your whole body. Our conversations range from nutrition to medicine with an emphasis on wellness tips to support your health journey. If you like what you hear, find us on the web at optimalbio.com and follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Thank you for joining another episode of the Optimal Bio podcast. Today I am joined with Julie, the owner of HomeTurf, a spin studio in Raleigh, and I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Can't wait to talk about all the things. So let's just kind of start with who you are, your background, and how HomeTurf came to life.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Julie. I guess I really like to explain myself mainly as a mom, entrepreneur, wife, sister, all the things. HomeTurf started, well, what people in Raleigh really think HomeTurf started last year. HomeTurf really started in 2020 when the world shut down. I was teaching at SoulCycle at the time up in the Northeast. I'm actually from Connecticut. I grew up there, moved back there, all that jazz, and taught at SoulCycle for about 6 years after working in the advertising industry for 6 years. And so I made a shift and then became an instructor. That was a huge career change. But then 2020 hit and SoulCycle shut down. And if you are anybody who's ever ridden at SoulCycle, you know we don't close for anything. So that was a very big deal.
Yeah.
So we were like all going stir crazy. I was like asked some of my main girls who would ride with me all the time. And I was like, hey guys, do you guys I want to put together this workout. Anybody want to work out on Zoom? Like this great, crazy idea. And they were like, yes. Yeah. Everyone's like, what are we supposed to do? So put together a workout, all on the mat, all body weight, all strength based. And they loved it. It was fun. It was like just fun seeing each other again, being stuck at home. Fast forward, I still say this, that I was like, I never planned on doing Zoom workouts for longer than I needed to, especially once the studio opened back up. And then I was doing it for 4 more years.
Wow.
I stopped teaching HomeTurf online we moved here in 3 years ago. So 2022 and of April. So actually literally almost 3 years ago to the date. And I stopped that August of that year. So it had been a long time. Like people picked up on it. People loved it. My riders who were riding with me at SoulCycle would then complement and supplement their strength workouts with the online at home with me. So that was pretty cool. And then throughout that period, I was like, well, this is something. I have a lot of people showing up. We're definitely creating this community. It's becoming the same people every couple times a week. I was like, I need to create a name. So it was probably honestly like year 2, I'd say, that I was like, okay, let's call this something. And I came up with HomeTurf. So, technically HomeTurf started in my basement in Connecticut on Zoom. And then when we moved here in Raleigh, which we were actually supposed to move in 2020.
Oh, okay.
But here we are. Now we're 3 years in, which feels like we moved here yesterday, to be quite frank. But yeah, so when we moved here, I just felt I had to say goodbye to my job at Soul. We moved here for my husband's job. And I was like, I hadn't found anything that really made me feel the way I felt up in the Northeast, the type of experience, the level of intensity. I've always, and I was still teaching online. And I was like, you know what? Let me bring this to life. Let me take this big risk. Very, very scary. But yeah, and here we are. We opened our doors this past November and we're 6 months in. And that's kind of the origin of HomeTurf, if you will.
Yeah, I love it. And how did you come up with the name HomeTurf?
So, for me, I grew up being an athlete, but also a performer. So the reason I love this modality of being on the bike and riding to the beat of the music, but then also incorporating strength, to me, it was like, it brought together 2 things that I really love. So being an athlete and being a performer. And that's a big reason also why I found SoulCycle and fell in love with that. But when it came to creating the name of my own brand outside of what I kind of already knew, I was like, well, for me though, like it's always really been about showing up and being part of the team. I tell this story a lot, but my dad always asked me the score of every game. I played lacrosse in college. And he was like, what was the score of the game today or whatever, or even high school? What was the score? I was like, I don't know. I've literally like never kept track of the score. I was just happy to be there, be part of it and be part of the experience and the team aspect and like being around people who love to push each other and challenge each other. And I loved like physically pushing myself. I'm a speedy girl. I ran really fast. Like there was just the adrenaline rush of just, being part of it. But then also the same thing on stage when I was whatever performing. I really had to figure out a name that incorporated not only performance, but like that athlete and where did I really feel so myself? And it was always on my own home turf. And so home turf is, of course, yes, like an actual physical space, but it's really like if you also take the internal aspect of it, like I was never really concerned again about the score, the metric, all that jazz. Like I was really taking care of what was going on here, which is also my internal home turf. So that's how I got the name.
I love it. I know I always say I'm like, sports, whatever you may play, whether you go play in college, high school, club, rec, like the lessons you learn and the structure it gives you, like I think makes a difference of your entire life. I feel like when I was like the first time I really noticed it was when I was in grad school, and I realized that some traits of like a group of people, I was like, they never played sports growing up. And it like really dawned on me. And now I've seen it then, for the past 10 years, just in, interviewing or employees or team, whatever it may be. I'm like, how one do not play sports? And like you said, like you feel, that's where you feel and you learn so many things.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you say that too, because I have noticed that, throughout my time at Seoul and then now here at Home Turf, it's definitely like it's brought together this group of people that, yes, have certainly been part of teams growing up and whatnot, but then also people who have found group fitness in their adult life, if you will, which has been their team, whether they played sports previously or not. So like, just also the idea of like, I don't know why like group fitness just sounds very like retro and old school to me. Like, I don't know, like that's why I call it a team so much, because I'm like, that's what it is. Like if you find a place that you love showing up to, you are going to find the same people doing the same. And like we have our members are incredible and they show up and like there's truly a team feeling in here. And it's cool. Like we'll be in class, everyone's tapping each other's handlebars and yes, it's a group fitness class, but like we've really created something that represents, at least something that I felt growing up, and whether again it was on the field or on stage, just being part of something.
Completely. And yeah, I do feel like when you say group fitness, you think of like the 80s, maybe like aerobics. But yeah, and I think it's like, one, if you go to the same classes, you see the same people, but two, you're just, you're all locked in, focusing on that hour. And sometimes I'm like, kind of internalize, I'm like, I know what I'm going through this week. What is the person next to me going through, right? And it's just like, if they're there, I'm there. And for me personally, selfishly, I'm so thankful for people like you because it's my hour that I don't have to think. I just listen to you and, show up.
I literally talked about that this morning in my class. Like I always, there's times where I try not to say, like, I try not to plan what I say in class. I let to try to come naturally. And I will say though, that is the one thing I always fall back on now is like, because there are days where of course I'll show up and I'm a little tired or whatever. I'm like, I got nothing up here, but it is this one thing that I can always fall back on and always be the best reminder is that you don't necessarily know what the person next to you is going through, but just by you deciding to show up today, like makes a huge difference.
And you know what? You kind of touched on it. Made you like, hey, I'm taking this from Zoom. I'm taking the huge step in so many ways to open a studio.
I will say that was never like, this has never been, I don't want to say this in like this is not like a negative, like this has never been a dream of mine. Like we lived in New York after school, and I'm saying we because my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, which felt like ages ago, we lived in New York, we lived in LA, we moved back to Connecticut. We met in New York City, but we actually both grew up in Connecticut. So then we moved back to Connecticut. I didn't know if that was our final stop, but I didn't think we were going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, well, here we are. Like I've got SoulCycle. I've got like, I'm very happy. We were having kids. Like things were set in stone. And then all of a sudden, we were being told we're going to move to Raleigh. And I was like, okay. So, and even with that initial conversation, there were some ideas that I was talking with friends about, like maybe partnering and opening up other studios and things like that, because I knew this was not something I wanted to give up. Like, I had to teach. I am, and like, I've always been I have like a mentor spirit, if you will, and like a coaching spirit that, like, it's not that I don't enjoy taking classes. I do enjoy taking classes, but I very much more enjoy teaching the class, because it just brings together my two passions, like the athletic part of it, but also the performance part of it. When we moved here, again, I went around to a lot of places. I tried a lot of different places. I just was like, something's missing. I just didn't. And this is just a personal thing, right? Because everybody has their own preference as to where they want to work out. But I was just like, nothing made me want to race back there. And I just was doing my online workouts, which were great. And it just brought that feeling. And I was like, I have to do something. And thankfully, thank God I have a great partner and husband who just literally was like, yeah, you do. Like, you got to do it, because he could see it in me that I was missing it so badly when we moved here, and, got our ducks in a row and realized how scary this was going to be. But it was something that we both, thank God, were willing to take the risk. And, here we are, and we're still growing. But yeah, I had to. It wasn't planned. I didn't think it was really going to happen. It was never in my head as a little girl, like, I'm going to open my own studio one day kind of thing. Like, I was also never the type of girl that, like, dreamt of her wedding. Like, I just, like, I don't know. But I just more in the moment of, like, being in the time and place of where I am in my life. I was like, this is what's going to have to happen if I am going to continue on. Like, I need to be happy and to continue to fulfill what I feel like I'm meant to do.
I think that's the beauty of life. Like, yes, some people have their life planned forever, and that's amazing. But I think it just goes back to every experience you had build, and you might realize, like, oh gosh, this is where it connected a year or in 10 years. But all of it, I remember, like, say, especially like in your 20s when you're like interviewing for jobs and people are like, what's your 5-year plan? And you're just like, what's the 5-year plan? Now, don't ask me that. I'm like confident, like, who knows what's happening tomorrow? But you just have to show up, and it will come.
It's so true. Like, I look back and I definitely thought Seoul was like my end all be all. I'll be there for 50,000 years, but little did I know that was just like chapter 1. I had no idea, but I'm grateful for it, but I'm even more excited for this next chapter.
You said you went to different studios, nothing really clicked. And I love, like, a workout in a studio. Like, I work out at home sometimes, thankful for those, but I need a gym. I need to go to press, and you can feel it when something's off for you or it doesn't match. Especially I feel like with spin, but I couldn't explain it. Like, what makes a great spin class? You know what I mean? Like, but when I go, I know. Like, how do you explain, how HomeTurf is different than, say, another class or option?
This could be like an entire podcast episode. Like, just that topic alone. That's a great question. And that's probably the reason why I didn't find anywhere else where it was like it clicked, because the training that I went through to become the type of instructor I am today, like, was very intense. And I think, oh gosh, I think it really it has everything to do from the experience of when, of course, you walk through the front doors to the staff, to not only that, then like when the music turns on, from the very first song to the last, like, there is an entire flow of class that I look for, no matter where I take it. And like, I need you to bring me through something, like a journey, an experience. And I want to get lost in it. Like, I don't want to remember what's going on outside at that moment. And if I can't get lost in like what's happening with the instructor, like, because I'm really big, and my entire team will know this, especially my instructors, like, I'm really big on the performance and the coaching aspects. So those two have to mesh. And everybody has their strengths on either side a little bit more, but we need to be able to mold them, the two together. And to be able to do that, and when something clicks like that, it's like there's this flow of like the choreography, the music, the way that coach talks, and like how they play with their lights and the levels of sound, and like it all comes together. Like people do not realize how much there is to think about on the back end. So, but I think also because how much I do know, I take into account all those little things, and because I think those like little details go so far to create such an amazing high end experience. I was another big reason why I was like, I got to take matters into my own hands here and do this. But that is like, that's what to me makes HomeTurf stand out, is because it's just like, I personally train everybody and we all come together, but like, it's very much like I want everyone to get behind it. And if you can't, it's all good. But like, I very much expect this level of excellence when you get up on the podium and provide this experience for all our clients.
And what is like, how long is the training process? Because you can't teach every class.
No, God, no. I don't want to. Yeah, no. So if we're actually in the middle of our very first official training group, like all my instructors that I have from opening up the studio, it was very, I did classes in my garage. So like, so it was very much like one-on-one based, kind of getting people training. And so that was a little more casual, if you will. I wouldn't like, they went through weeks, but it wasn't formal structure. Now we are in week 6 right now. My goal for a training process is about 8 weeks. I think this group will be close to anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks. And it's just, we meet at least twice a week, in the middle of classes, and there's just like an hour and a half, and we work on certain parts of the experience, if you will.
Oh yeah, no, I've probably been to thousands of workout classes. Like, I love it. If I'm traveling to a new city, like I'm trying, and I could not imagine teaching one class. Like, I'm like, the things that must be going on in your head during one class, like I can't even imagine. Like, just even the basics of like counting down, while beat up the music, cheering on someone. I'm like, absolutely not. Like, count me out. So us on the other side, was very thankful for you guys.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate when people notice, because it does. It's a lot. We don't just show up and make a playlist. So.
Oh gosh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I can't explain how a class is different, but I could walk in and feel it.
Yeah.
Down in Charleston, the works, everyone, I would have been to like all of their non-cycle classes, and people kept saying like, you have to go their cycle. And I walked into the first class and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Everyone keeps saying it. And then it's the same when you guys open. I was so excited, and I walked in and I was like, yes, like this is what Raleigh needed.
And it's funny because if you take an indoor cycling classes, like regardless of like, well, we teach strength as well, but like there's something about the indoor cycling people that like know. And I've had a lot of people who was like, I used to ride Soul Cycle in New York, like, and they'll come in and do this, and it's like, they're like, thank God. And I'm like, I know, I'm so glad you feel that too, because that's what I was missing, and that's what I wanted to bring.
Oh yeah, like I started, because I used to live in DC, and I'd go, like whenever I'd go to New York, I'd be in Soul Cycle, and then Flywheel opened in Raleigh. So yeah, I've gone through all the life cycles. Yes, yeah. So you said that you guys do strength classes too. So what are the classes that you guys offer?
So we offer 45-minute cycling classes, 45 to 50. I like to put in a little extra 5 minutes for those strength classes. And then we offer as well as a combo class. So cycle and sculpt, and cycle and strength. So we do, those combo classes are about 20 minutes on the bike, and then about 25 minutes on the mat.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So sculpt is more so like some body weight, lighter weights movements, and then or exercises rather. And then the strength classes are, I ask everyone to, a lot of drop sets, like picking up the heavier weights and then drop, going down from there. And just different exercises,
Yeah. What made you want to add those classes?
So that's what HomeTurf was really based off of in 2020 is, I started in my basement, and all those classes online were mat strength classes. So, and I was never, again, like I belonged to the YMCA in my town growing up. Like, I am not somebody who can go to the gym by myself and like enjoy it. Like, I do it out of necessity and obligation, but like I leave there and I'm like, yeah, like great. Like I always can do better. Whereas if I do it with people, I'll push myself harder. So when I was doing the strength classes online on Zoom, they were going so well. And then I also just noticed once I was back on the bike, such a difference in my ride, and also just how I felt, in general. I started because when I started back in 2020 with the strength classes, my daughter was 6 months old. And I've never been somebody I've been always very active and very fit, but after having a first kid, it's just like,
I cannot even begin to imagine. It makes me nervous thinking. Yes.
it's a shock to the system for sure, especially again, being an athlete your whole life. But then when I started doing the strength workouts, I was like, wait a second, I'm becoming strong again. Like and I'm not going to say like, I'm not going to go into this whole like body back thing, but I am so totally okay with saying, I want to feel strong again. Like I wanted to lose some more baby weight and all that jazz. And I started picking up some weights and incorporating that with the bike. And it just started like, I was like, okay, I'm a mom now, but damn, I feel good. And I take pride in that because that took work and consistency. So when I opened and so then I just continued those strength workouts forever. And obviously for the last couple of years. And then I knew how important it was. If I'm going to open something up, I'm not going to do just one modality. It has to, I just personally, obviously for that reason. And that I just think strength and cardio are just such perfect complements. And then specifically, spin and these dumbbell workouts that have been a godsend for me. And already so many people love them. So it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, it's so important for strength and cardio. Like especially for like then the client, you can have all your options at one place, which is always but kind of touching on like the importance of fitness, like yes, like the physical aspect, but I feel like people, don't talk about it enough, like the mental, emotional, like parts of fitness touches every aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I tell people all the time, like it's crazy what people, including myself, like I've been in this industry since 2015. So almost 10 years. And the amount of stuff I've worked through, that I didn't even that I didn't even know that I needed to work through, have like emotions that popped up in class, but because again of that, like that experience that the instructor is delivering or what they're saying, or just like even the dark room and just losing yourself in it. Like I tell people all the time, allow yourself to lose yourself in here because it'll do more for you than you think.
Oh gosh, like I don't know how people don't work out because you know what I mean? Like that's like how I set my day. Just when you leave class, you already feel lighter. Even if you still have the same exact day ahead, it's just such a huge difference.
Totally. And yeah. And I think it's too one of those things where it's like when you're so consistent with it. I read some sort of meme on Instagram or whatever, and it was like, get to a point where what the days where you don't work out, like you miss it so much or something, like it was something along those lines of like, you've just done it so much that you realize how important it is for you. Take it from me. This morning I taught class. I was so tired this morning. I just, coming back from spring break, I just catapulted myself back into this week and yet pushed through. And I'm like, thank God I did that. Cause I know it's done. I feel better and I can focus more on work now and all that jazz.
Exactly. As the owner of HomeTurf and leading classes, I feel like people probably look to you for wellness advice or whatever their questions may be. So, when you think of wellness in your life, like what does that look like?
For me personally, it's my routine, and like the things that fill up my cup. So obviously moving my body, sweating, and playing music that brings me joy. But then also for me, like being with my kids, it's crazy. Like becoming a business owner, I've had to be away from them a little bit more especially throughout the day. And that's been an adjustment. So I know when I'm feeling that lull, like I need to see them. So I okay, I'm going to pack up today. I'm going to go home and everything will be fine and I'm going to get it done, but I need to fill up my cup that way. So being around my family and friends. And yeah, finding my little pockets of throughout the week, which is rare, which I'm sure, it's like finding those times to see your girlfriends and just like making all the time, but I have realized if I can just find little pockets here and there that fill up my cup and bring me joy, then because lucky for me, I know my career is working out. So I know I'm going to get that. So how can I create more little pockets for me, just me, that I can, know that I'm not feeling any guilt or regret or whatnot, and take care of that. Also, I am a big believer in therapy. I started going to therapy after my third kid, and that was a game changer. Even on days where I'm like, I got nothing to talk to you about, but I just want to chat with you because it feels good. I think there's just this thing with going to therapy that sometimes people get this nervousness that there's something has to be majorly wrong. And I'm like, my therapist helped me work through a lot of stuff, but we're at a point where I'm pretty good, but it still feels really good to talk to her. So that is another huge thing for me too, is the mental part of it, that I think taking care of myself that way too.
Yeah. And I think little by little, the stigma around it is lifted. But I always go back to the top athletes. They have an entire team of wellness people. So I'm like, how can we have a miniature version? I can't spend $1 million like Russell Wilson a year. A lot of them credit, some of, say, golfers, their sports psychologists literally go with them to the target, and I'm like, okay, if a top athlete has it, give me a sports psychologist to hang out with me today.
Totally. I mean, my God, what I would do. I mean, because it's funny, even as an instructor, people look at us like we're your therapist, and it's yeah, which is fine, that's fine, but we too have to take care of ourselves. So that's super important. So
I think it's just always a constant reminder. I know for myself, it's sometimes hard, especially when people talk about how a woman's brain is, but just knowing you have to take care of yourself first, because then everything else is going to fall apart, to be able to show up the best for yourself. And just making sure to give yourself that time of what that looks like for you and that you need.
Yeah, for sure.
So, owning a business, brick and mortar, is a lot. And, but you guys have, I feel outside looking in, have been so successful in the community and the brand that you've already created. So, thinking back on those 6 months, what are some of the wins or the things that, make you smile thinking about all the craziness too of construction and, getting it open?
My social media girl actually found this the other day on our Instagram. A little memory popped up of me sitting in my office at home, and it was paint colors and tiles. And I'm like, that's so crazy that was a year ago. So that it's actually fun to see those memories now, because I just remember sitting there and being like, this is going to take forever. And I'm just waiting to teach and just do what I love, So I actually am enjoying right now seeing those memories and just reminding myself how fast things really do go. I also what's really cool actually right now, it's happening a lot in our studio. Ironically, we've claimed April being our member appreciation month. But so many people are reaching milestones right now. And I'm like,
yeah,
you're reaching you're reaching 100 rides or 200 classes or whatever it may be at HomeTurf. We've been open that long too. You love it so much. I'm just that's all I wanted to do, is just bring joy and a place where people love to show up and be part of. And it's obviously working. And I'm like, it's just so cool to see people reach a milestone at a place that I open. And I'm like, okay, yes, it's working. And I'm just so grateful. And then I think that's really been really fun right now. And then, we're still just seeing new people come in. And I really, because our members, like I said, they're freaking incredible. And they sign up, they show up, and they have for months. But then when we get new people in too, it's just like fun to like connect with new people and just see like, they're like, yeah, we heard about you or whatever. But then like after class, they're like, that was awesome. And I'm like, yes, like, it's just such a good feeling. So I just know that there's so much room to grow and there's still so many people that don't know about us yet. But, I hope when they do and they hear about us, they'll come give us a shot because it's a really happy place to be part of.
Yeah. And you can feel it as soon as you walk in.
Yeah. Thank you.
When you guys do the Wellness Wednesday, aren't you doing that in a few weeks?
Yeah. Next Wednesday.
Are you guys bringing bikes out? Like, what is your class? Yeah.
Yeah. We're bringing the bikes up and, we're going to get a U-Haul earlier that day, load them up, bring them up the street, then unload them. We'll have everyone hands on deck. But yeah, we're doing those and we're doing a cycle and strength. So it's really but it's going to be more body weight because I'm not going to bring all the dumbbells. 40 people on the bikes, 40 people doing strength, and then so 33, and then they'll switch. So it'll be cool. It'll be different than we did last year because last year was just cycle. But I really want people to know that we're not just a cycling studio. And I think that's actually becoming more and more apparent too recently because our strength class numbers are continuing to increase a lot. So
yeah. So we'll just end on some quick takes. Sunset or sunrise?
Oh, sunrise.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Same. Running or walking?
Speed walking.
I like it. And strength or yoga?
Strength.
Same. Well, awesome. I could talk to you probably for hours. It was so great talking. And everyone go take a class at HomeTurf. We'll link all your socials and website where you can sign up. But I love HomeTurf. It's a great place to be.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you. And so is Optimal Bio. I feel amazing since my pellets. So
good. Yeah, we love to hear that.
Yeah, it definitely is a huge help.
We all need a little testosterone.
We sure do. Especially when you make none.
Yeah, me and you both. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
This has been a production of Optimal Bio. Optimal Bio is CEO Tylar Brannon, Medical Director Greg Brannon, podcast host Tylar Brannon, production assistance by Core Media, Beth Gravencourt, Administrator, Kevin Duthu, Executive Producer. The podcast can be found on our website, optimalbio.com, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Our theme song is Sunwave by Paradiso, provided by Epidemic Sound.